what VR is. They almost don't believe it, that you put on this headset and you're in a room with someone. I mean, Apple's going to have something next year that's augmented reality, but they're talking about $3,000, but I hope it goes down to 300. But I think the way it could change is if this replaces Zoom. Yep, that's it.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
actually amazing.
That's very interesting.
I was against the whole idea in the beginning, and then when I actually saw what Altspace is all about, I was just mesmerized, and I'm like, okay, I'm joining. I like it, and here I am today.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
awesome.
sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone to realize that it wasn't a comfort zone to begin with. And virtual reality is one thing where you think that there's too many buttons to press, there's too many things to learn. It's like learning to play PlayStation all over again, which most people wouldn't do who hasn't been exposed to those type of things. So yeah, but that's very interesting what you said about prison and with COVID, and how inmates will probably be meeting with their loved ones through virtual reality. I don't know if it's happening now, but I mean, you just might have sent off that seed for someone to think about it now for the future, or people on Facebook would hear it and say, there's our idea. Nice, Dylan. Let's go to Billy Bob. Good to see you again, and welcome to Oh My Brain. All right.
Sorry, I think I pressed the wrong button.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. My first thought did head towards sort of people visiting people in prison, because I know I often hear stories when I watch these Netflix documentaries about someone who's innocent in jail. I think everyone's innocent in jail, apparently. And the family are driving every week, and they're having to drive 3 or 4 hours and sit in a room, and they get 30 minutes to speak. And that facility to actually drop into a virtual reality, because I mean, even if you were in the same room, you're separated by a piece of glass, and this just gives you that little bit of extra closeness above sort of a Zoom call, as mentioned. So that sounds quite interesting. And as well, for the people in prison, I think maybe one of the issues for them might be their environment that they were in outside of prison that got them into prison may have been particularly difficult. And once they're in prison, how do you expose them to other environments? And maybe this is a way to let them go out and see other things and see where things are going on. And it could be an interesting and safe way to let some particular groups mix and talk. You know, you might have 2 different gangs or factions in the prison who are, you know, if you put them in the same room, that they take a knife to each other, but you can sort of drop them in this room. You know, they'll probably half gather on that sofa and half on this one, but they'll talk. They won't have an option. You can't shank across Altspace. So I think that could be quite interesting. Yeah, that's all I've got for you now.
Thanks, Billy Bob. Yeah, and you can imagine that, you know, they get so bored in prison that all they think about is fighting. And if they were just distracted with other things to do, then they might even stop resorting to violence. You know, what is that? We actually had an advert in South Africa, Ali, where basically they said if everybody drank Hunter's Gold, which is a type of cider, then there would be world peace. Which initially I thought, well, there wouldn't be in the longer term, but as long as they're drinking their Hunter's cider, there technically would be world peace. So like with prison, it would be as long as they have their virtual reality and they're distracted from other things, they wouldn't be fighting or trying to think of ways to, I don't know, be the macho man in the cell. Let's go to Faye. Faye, I don't know if you've been to these events, but you have the opportunity to speak or pass. Yes, Ali.
Concerning the cider or the beer slogan, I know it was something else, but I can't say it on here. It's illegal.
What, Hunters?
Yeah, instead of having a Hunter's beer, you have something else instead, and it calms you down. Then there would be world peace if everybody... Never mind.
You can say it, Ali. Yeah. We're all adults in
and
here.
I'm sure most of you already know it. Yes, if everybody smokes a joint at that moment, we will have world peace for like 2 minutes or something.
That was it. Oh, that was it? Okay. I was thinking sex, but anyway. Let's go to
That's another thing.
let's go to Faye. Faye, you have the opportunity to speak or pass. How will VR shape the world in prison?
I'm just waiting for you to accept the mic. The microphone, sorry.
Or if not, then we'll move to the next person. And you can raise your hand. So for those who haven't spoken, not on my right, but those who are not on the couch, you can raise your hand and then we will get straight back to you. Let's go to Jeffkins. Jeffkins, you have the opportunity to speak or pass. Anything?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah. Well, we could hear you. Let me help you back there.
Let's try one more. Okay.
All right. Jeffkins.
Now can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
No?
The sound's not great.
It's a little bit broken.
We have to try again.
Hold on one sec.
This is the beauty of Altspace glitches. One more time, Jeffkins.
Okay.
Much better.
How's this? Can you?
Much better.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah. So the future of VR in prisons means that the audio will be better. So I've got two ideas on that, I guess. One of them is I think the opportunity for vocational training will expand a great deal, because it can be anything from general skills to specific employers who are looking for certain skill levels could train prisoners through VR so that when folks get out, they have a place to go and they have the skill sets to do it. That's been missing in a lot of prisons, is people getting out and not being marketable for anything that might help keep them out again. And I think the other service that's been lacking a lot in prisons that could be done in VR are mental health services, especially in prisons where maybe it's not so safe for counselors to go in. It's not an issue in VR. It would give people a lot greater access to mental health services and addiction type recovery services. So that's kind of neat that because you don't have to physically be there, the access would be much greater for folks. So those are my thoughts.
Those are good thoughts. Excellent. All right. Ali, help me out here.
Dr. Whomever. Let me just give you the microphone.
Yes, and for those who haven't spoken, then just raise your hand. Before we continue, this event, Oh My Brain, is about how VR will shape the world in prison. Not the entire event. The second one is more X-rated, which I'm sure King Karush will love, considering the last world that I found him in. But I guess these are inside jokes. But yeah, let's go to Dr. Whomever.
Dr. Whomever, hi.
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 Wow, I don't really have anything to add. Jeffkins really stole the thunder there, I think. Job training, therapy, maybe spiritual components that people might need, social, emotional, and visiting family. I mean, I think everyone's really spoken to it. If we look at Ready Player 2, I think Ernest Cline really brings a lot of this to light. But yeah, that's all I got. I just kind of standing on everyone else's shoulders here.
Thanks for the reinforcement. That's good, because we've got another 10 people in the room who didn't hear what Jeffkins had to say. And for those who haven't spoken, please raise your hand at the bottom right-hand corner, because we'd love to hear your thoughts. Or you can wait for the next topic on how VR will shape the world. We're doing 2 today. Last week we did education. This week we're doing 2. Let's go to Cooperin 1668. Why does that remind me of an alcohol?
Sure. It's actually a French composer, and that was the year he was born. But it does sound like a name of a spirit.
I think it's a beer.
But is it?
Yes, it is. Blanc.
I'll have to check that.
It's Harbin beer, 1664. I had it in France.
Okay. Well, so there is the French connection definitely there.
Interesting. All right. Yo.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about the first thing that struck me was, and just from my personal experience, 2 months into this VR thing since Christmas, whatever, I guess not even 2 months, is the potential for therapies surrounding social skills. Having those myself, I've just noticed that the VR milieu, whatever you want to call it, just feels very welcoming, and it takes some of the edge off. It just takes some of the edge off social interactions. And I think with the prison population, one of the big issues is the re-entry of prisoners into quote unquote normal society. You could begin that normalization process, that re-entry acclimation, with VR being a more gentle re-entry point. Yeah, I mean, I see that as a huge potential. I think that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, rehab. Thanks, Cooperin. Let's go to Blueface. You have changed completely. You've done an entire 180-degree look and feel. Hello.
Hello. Right, prison. I think most of what I thought has been covered, definitely by Jeffkins with vocational training. And then actually what Cooperin was saying about the potential to reform people. But I do think there's definitely limitations with that, because as we know, VR has been great as an aid for social interaction while we've been in a pandemic, but we know it's not a true replacement for it. So while I think it can be used kind of to ease people back in, I don't know if it's going to be that simple. I think I need to have a proper think about it. I don't have enough time to think about it now, but I definitely think that there's going to be some issues because it's not a true social interaction. And if you wanted to compare it to solitary confinement, which is a punishment, which is considered one of the worst punishments that could ever be, to starve a social creature of social interaction, I just don't know if VR could be a true replacement for that. But it definitely has its benefits. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Blue Person. Let's go to Ali.
We have 2 hand raisers. Should we go to those first?
It depends who they are. Yes, let's go to them. King Karush, hello, welcome.
Greetings to both of you, Tim and Ali, and the big room of happiness.
Pop on to the couch.
As always.
Get comfortable.
I'll come next to Dylan. What's up, Dylan? So, it's a big topic, I think, because, there is so many things that doesn't say. I live in London, and I have, not say criminal friends, but I have friends who have been inside for many years, let's say. And upon their arrival, when you meet them after, good 15, 16 years they've been in and they come out, is a big shock. The shock of how much the world has moved on and evolved, how far behind they are. It wouldn't be just for the, looking for a job. The society has moved on so much that they mentally going to struggle to fit in. And VR could be a platform for them to, get access. I mean, they do have a limited time on the internet, limited time on the TV to see the world that is out there, but they don't really get to see the real world. Virtual reality might be a alternatives replacement of what the world looks like today. And upon having that meeting with my friend, it is heartbreaking, because people do end up doing some mistake and they have to pay for 2 decades later, and they break down quite easily. And I must say, he has not recovered since he came out, and he has lost everything. As a very young man, he went in, coming out as a full adult. Everybody got married, have kids, moved on, have someone have an empire between this, someone has been doing this, someone has been doing that. They feel so much that anxiety suddenly build up on them, and it's a big box that we're looking at. Yeah, VR could give it a bit of an inside view of what the world looks like as that moment they all project into themselves. So yeah, it could be helpful.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
It's also that empathic way of thinking, of saying that the people who are there, who've done serious crimes, do they deserve any pleasure for the rest of their lives? And it's that trying to find the balance of who deserves, for example, if you did a financial crime, then is that the type of crime where you can stay in prison for life, but you can at least enjoy the world and everything else and meet your relatives via VR, compared to a rapist or a serial killer or something? Do they deserve the pleasures of doing that? Because I know here in South Africa, Ali, I don't know about there, in Europe, but a lot of people commit crimes because they want to go to jail, because jail is a better way of living than their current living situation. That's quite frightening. All right, let's go to browser 21. Hey.
So, hey. This is my first time in the room here, so it's a pretty unique situation. What I was
welcome.
thinking, thank you very much. What I was thinking is, VR could be used to play different scenarios for people that are in prison. It could be anything from, temptations to crimes of opportunity, and just playing different scenarios and maybe different levels of scenarios where the prisoner could be presented with something, whether it could be, something to do with gangs or crime, and seeing how the prisoner would react. And as he's kind of he or she's going through prison, just seeing if the scenarios, it's almost like a choose your own adventure kind of scenario where, you see money laying around. Do you choose to take it, or do you choose to walk away? You see, a lady walking down the street. Do you approach her, or do you just keep by yourself? Just kind of different scenarios where, people could change their thought process, and maybe that would be something that could help in ways of giving them opportunities to not take certain opportunities or do something else, or choose a different path with whatever scenario is presented.
Interesting. Browser, let me tell you something. First time you've been here, and you pretty much stated 2 of our events without ever knowing about them. The Social Dilemma and the Moral Dilemma we host on a fortnightly on Mondays and Fridays. Social Dilemma's Monday and Moral Dilemma's on Friday. And by those scenarios that you mentioned, we've actually covered them. And you can also join us. And everybody else here, make sure you join us on VR Digital Citizens Facebook group. Instagram, we have VR Digital Citizens, and the Oh My Brains Facebook page for reminders, because I don't even know if we're going to move on to the next topic today. Ali, I guess it's all up to you, but I would like to hear what Ali has to say, and then I'll give you my thoughts. Ali.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so we can move on to the next topic. You guys don't want to miss the next topic. Anyway, so my answer is going to be short and sweet. I was thinking something along the lines of training doctors. They can help them through VR and being at a safe distance as well. Also education. A lot of them can get educated. A lot of the lower level criminals have gone into being criminals because they've been exposed to drugs, haven't had a good education, have had problems growing up. I'm not talking about the serial killers. So there is a way for them to get educated as well as being exposed to society so that they don't feel so isolated as well. So short and sweet. What about you, Mr. Tim?
Awesome. Yeah, I've also got short and sweet answers as always. Just lost my train of thought. I think we should go to one more. Okay, let me think. Okay, so the way I was going about this was a little bit different, and that is, I'm sure VR with prison. Completely lost. Oh yes, therapy. So helping inmates deal with psychological issues. I think it's very important to see VR as not only an escapism to meet with your family and friends, etc., but also to deal with the psychological issues that you're currently going through, whether it's fears, whether it was your upbringing, whether it was your culture. You could have psychological issues from the way they dealt with the culture, and VR could help with that. The second thing is that there could be release programs. Like, you know, you always hear about inmates serving their time and they're doing certain types of labor, but what we don't think about is what if they had, in a way, a type of exams or tests or release programs which will prepare the inmates for when they're released into the real world, to prepare them for how to act in the real world with new things that have applied and how they'll, because, you know, you're in jail, you're in 25 years or whatever, and now you're stuck within your own time, you're stuck within your own dimension of your own reality, and the world is moving at such a compounded exponential rate that now you need to be trained to get into the real world and to avoid, as King Karush said, to avoid that anxiety and to avoid, everybody is so ahead, and rather just to prepare them psychologically, to make them stop comparing themselves to people. When you stop comparing your timeline to other timelines, you might start to accept who you are and work on who you are and see small celebrations into the future. And the third way that I think VR can help with jails is communication, where they don't need their loved ones to drive every day to go into these cells, especially with COVID. Like now they're able to connect with their loved ones, in the outside world, and they can actually see what they're going through. Their children will also get brought up with their father being in jail, but also he will get to enjoy the children getting brought up, So those are the three main things, sweet and short, that I thought about. Let's move on to the next topic. Anyone under the age of 16, please leave. I'll give you a hint of what the topic is, and it goes with blue person. Blue person, I actually have a joke which can lead to the next topic, if you don't mind. Why are Smurfs blue? Blue person.
I don't know. Why are Smurfs blue?
They blue because there are only men in the entire community and only one woman. And Smurfette is blue. And Smurfette is blue because she is a lesbian. So
I don't think that was the answer, but anyway, I'm sure a lot of the the guys will understand why they're all blue.
Will VR shape the world when it comes to sex? And we are going to start with the one wearing what's her name? Chrissy Lou. Chrissy Lou, number one. You have the opportunity to speak or pass. Entirely up to you.
Chrissy Lou, hi.
Hi.
Just waiting for you to
I'm
accept
on
the
mic.
microphone.
Yo.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It'll give people the opportunity to explore things that they're not typically allowed to explore in regular social norms. Maybe test out or see what else is out there that they're not according to. It also opens up a lot of doors for education, I think, too.
Awesome. Straight to education. Thank you, Chrissy Lou. Let's go to Dylan. I didn't even think about education.
Well, I think the interesting thing that's happening here in Norway is that most of the sex workers are from other countries, and a lot of people are getting deported because sex work is illegal, and a lot of people are migrating to websites like OnlyFans. So now, the people that used to buy prostitutes in reality, they're exploring the virtual realm, and you even have websites now where you put on the headset and it looks like you're with that woman. And in California, they're developing haptic bodysuits where it feels like the woman might be touching you. So this is a realm that's really going to explode, especially since a lot of epidemiologists are saying that we could have pandemics now every 10 years because of global warming. But that's my thought. Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
Awesome.
But also, if you've seen the movie, what is it called? Blade Runner. I'm sure you'll get lots of ideas for how sex will shape the world. Let's go to King Karush.
Wow, big topic, isn't it? This is a big topic.
Where to start?
Where to start?
It's not the size.
It's
of
like
the
saying
topic,
gaming.
King Karush.
It's the size. Yeah, okay, I'll go you. Look, the reality is the gaming world is a top industry in the planet Earth at this point of time. It's the most financially developed, most lucrative in the sense of bringing money into the world. Now you got to look at it as the adult gaming kicks in. Obviously, sex would be the bigger part of it. And I could recall when the Sims game came out, he had that concept of you get to meet someone, you settle down with them, you have a kid, blah 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 blah, and it evolved from there. Now you could have all sorts of different partners you want in Sims, let's say, for example. Now VR obviously has that human interaction of it too, and has given a different kind of a concept. So it is so many departments when it comes to this actual title of sex, when it comes to VR, because obviously we touched on the education. You've got the youth, the younger ones who don't even know how to put a safety condom on, let's say. In some cases, it would be something that they definitely need to know, just because from a health point of view, just because the commitment point of view in future. You got that part of it, then you got the understanding that the feelings, individuals who don't know what kind of a partner they want to have. Yeah, Dylan kind of touched on it. You kind of going towards individuals that you might not want in life. You might not be able to have that in life. Whatever country you live in might suppress that area. So it's kind of a culture barrier breakdown, let's say. Then you had obviously, as again Dylan touched on it, the workers that has gone online and made an enterprise out of the situation, let's say. I don't know if that's going to be the future of it, but the future of VR in sex, it would be a lot more integrated to, let's say, in the next 400 or 500 years time, how the sensation of the brain works. Because when you say sex, in the end of days, your brain working. Your eye is just a recipe. It just receives information that your brain understands. Now, as the VR kind of evolves, it gets a lot more in detail with this area. I don't know how I feel about it in the future, what it's going to look like. And I'm a kind of a guy. I don't know if the VR is going to be the type of the sex I'm looking for, let's say. But maybe some other people feel otherwise, because the need of sex itself for each individual vary so many ways. So yeah, there is obviously a market for it. There's definitely people doing maximum funding around it, and then you got the need of many type of individuals, from younger ones to the older ones. Then you got the education around it. Yeah, so it's a big deal.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, King Karush. A lot of valid points over there. Let's go to Billy Bob.
Thank you. It is a tough one to know where to start with this topic. So at a first thought, you know, when you've got somebody in a long distance relationship type of thing, it sounds like something that is going to be, you know, useful to them to be able to reconnect with their partner. It also one of the topics we sort of touched on a little bit with some of the previous weeks is that all of these exciting things that VR can do can lead to somebody just not needing to open the door and leave their house. And this feels like one of those sort of basic instincts that is the reason that we get out of bed and get out into the world to get out and experience this. And the more of these things that we can replace, I don't know whether that's necessarily healthy for certain people, particularly may not want to go that way. And I also wonder how you would protect the younger people, because I mean, in here, you know, there's a rule that you're not supposed to be under 13, but we all hear people who screaming and the 6-year-old and so on, and in all different. I've been on a few different VR programs, a VR poker that's supposed to be for 18 plus, and you've got children all over the table shouting and playing, and they're going to get themselves in these situations, which is going to be difficult for them. Not to mention people who choose to you know, target those people, sort of predators who are looking for that sort of thing. So I don't know how that would be handled, to be honest. Yeah, that's what I've got for you.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Bow.
Chris Bow. Chris. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yes, we can.
Sorry, I just joined. Are we talking about the question that's behind you?
Yes. The question is, how do you think VR will shape the world when it comes to sex?
Wow, that's a very intense topic. Well, I agree a lot with the people who talked before. I don't know if is anyone familiar with the work of William Gibson, and also you mentioned the Blade Runner. I would say also the Matrix. You know, you can find in science fiction, you can find many ideas of you know, future projections of these things that are very interesting. Like, for example, I read this book by William Gibson. It's one of the Neuromancer trilogy. He actually coined the term cyberspace, for anyone that's not familiar. So in that world, in the future world, there's this thing, it's like a type of cinema, but in this industry, the actors, they wear some kind of neural network kind of thing, and they have artificial eyes, so they capture every moment. So you go and buy, let's say, a DVD or I don't know what's the medium in the future to watch this film, but basically you live in the body, you are present in the body of the protagonist. So whatever the protagonist sees or does, or you know, in the film, you experience it as a full body experience. So there are all these people who never come out of their houses, and they just sit all day jacked into this kind of virtual reality, and they, you know, they're whoever they want to be, and they experience whatever they want to be. And that's I think that's a very interesting, a bit dystopian perhaps, approach to this whole discussion, not only about how sex will be, but how every kind of sense we have gets somehow can be not replaced but enhanced and augmented
Evolve.
through yeah through digital media and virtual reality and all these new emerging technologies. um, I don't know how will VR shape the world in sex, but uh, I believe we live in interesting times. So we'll see many things we haven't seen before. They might you know, reshape the world, the way we see humanity, the way we see individuals. You know, the barriers we thought were there uh, for centuries, for millennia. We see them shifting. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Um, uh,
Ferdig
it it actually reminded me of that quote saying, if you never wake up from your dream, does your dream become your new reality and your new life? And also the movie Inception, where people wanted to go into and create their own world inside their minds. And the thing is, what is this going to do when it comes to sex? Because imagine that if you can ignite all your senses and you can have sex inside VR and enhance the senses within the experience than in real life, would you ever want to go back to real life once you've reached that benchmark? So that's very, very interesting. Thank you, Chris. Let's go to Browser 21.
Hey, so I hear a lot of people, talking about the future and, good aspects of meeting, somebody that's living long distance and things like that. But I just wanted to, look at some of maybe the negative things that VR shaping the world with sex. Mainly
Sure.
for like, somebody was talking about with kids, you know, um, if I was 13 or 14 and I had, VR, I would just be going to all these, I'm sure I'd be going to lots of sex sites and seeing all sorts of things because when I was 13, 14, 15, it was just, magazines that you'd find of,
Yeah.
your friend's older brother or something like that. And there's really nothing that maybe the parents can put some sort of blocker on it, but I'm sure that there's a large majority of kids, even 10 years old or whatever, that are hearing about stuff with their other friends, and then they're going on these sites, and I mean you can see some crazy sexual things, and a 12-year-old just gets on there, and that could really shape their mind and start programming their brain to see things in a completely different way, and especially young boys could start looking at women in completely different ways, and could cause some real lifelong damage to them, because they're, I mean, like I said, if I was 14 years old, I would probably come home from school and just get on VR and just go, look at all the porn sites and stuff like that. Because when you're at that age, it's all about like exploring and experimentation and
Yeah.
things like that. So I think that you know, it's it's a really tough area, um, but I really think that it could be so dangerous to kids. Um, so we're just gonna see, what happens, and I don't, like I said, I'm sure that there's parental blockers, but I mean, look, these kids are smart. They know how to get around stuff like that, so I really don't think that there's too much to stop kids from seeing this. So I guess it's really up to the parents to be actively monitoring them. Um,
Yeah.
but that's, I just wanted to kind of look at the like a negative aspect. I
No,
mean, I'm sure there's lots of
absolutely.
positive, but with all the positives, there's a boatload of negatives that go along with that.
Perfect. Ali, you're a teacher. Do you want to say anything about that as well?
Yeah, I might as well give my answer now. My concern is if kids get accustomed to using VR in that sense, it will create a comfort zone for them, and again, also get trained and conditioned. And then we'll have a whole generation of them just being accustomed to VR, and then I don't know. I sort of see that as a potential threat for humanity as well in the future. I mean, okay, I know I'm taking it to an extent, but um, the brain is programmed at that age. So when they do get access to it at a young age, that's what they think that the norm is. Similar to how porn is. I mean, it's a lot of people that are addicted to it, they've lost connection with the emotional side of it. They think that's what sex is all about, and it actually creates problems within the relationship dynamic later in the future. So this is what psychologists have said. So it's a major concern, yeah, that I wanted to add
And you
as
know,
well.
when I was younger, I mean, yes, the experimentation and trying to find the porn magazine, that definitely struck us. But the thing is, we weren't exposed to such irregularities as we are today that kids are exposed to. We are back then when we were younger, we could have guessed what the sex the book would be, you know, and the videos would be on the internet. It was just passion. It was just hard on sex. But nowadays there's irregularities because sex and porn is not good enough. And people are looking for the next, you know, like in life, people look for the next best thing. With sex, people look for the next craziest thing. And they just can't get enough. And now when children are exposed to this, they will start considering this as a norm, and then might even start experimenting with their fellow friends, which I don't know if it will affect them dangerously in the future, because how many people are messed up today when it comes to sex, but it does affect them into their life, having those memories which they have to now carry because they experimented based on the irregularities rather than, I don't know, you know, being kids. But yeah, let's carry on.
And especially and conditioned as it being a norm.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah, exactly. And they do consider it a norm, and if they don't, they do it behind their parents' back because it's a norm with the kids, but not a norm with the parents, if that makes sense. Let's go to Paul Laff. Paul Laff, how will sex shape the world when it comes to VR?
I suppose it depends what one means. The actual sex act or attitude towards sex. The sex act, it won't affect it at all because you can't be, if you excuse me saying so, hands-on experience. But the attitude towards sex, yeah, as someone saying, I'm 67, and only a few years ago there was stuff I'd never seen, I never even imagined, as you say, perversions of all sorts. So it could affect one's attitude towards sex. But I do feel that VR can have a downside. I was talking to somebody about conferencing. They were saying, oh, it's going to be great. We're going to have conferences on VR and this and that. And they were very enthusiastic. And it will save money and it will save flights. That's not the point of conferencing, as far as I was concerned. Company conferences is to get together and have a chat at the bar afterwards, the social interactions. But sex education, well, I don't know. But the actual sex act, no chance. You're up against billions of years of evolution there. No chance.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Paul Laff. Yeah, we're definitely talking about the pump and dump, not the actual gender or sex. Okay, I gotta mute you, Paul. Sorry, I couldn't talk there. Ultra Funky Claves, good to see you. And just so you guys know, I have extended the event's time, but because we got so many people, you might not be able to pop in because there is a certain limit. But anyway, let's go to Ultra Funky Claves. How will sex shape the world in VR?
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Okay, I was sitting here and thinking and listening, and I was thinking, like, if if how will VR shape the world in sex? And we say the sex is the goal, and we don't talk about what kind of sex, except that that is the end of the road, or where you want to go. So I was thinking, like, if we see this as a journey in the way that we would shape the way we go about to get sex, you with me? It's like, how do you work it? How do you talk to people? How do you interact with people? How do you normalize the way you see sex, talking to other people? Then I really think that the VR could be a really good thing, because as we see now, if you want to know something, you can take a paper and you can see pictures, or you can see a video, but you cannot interact with other people. But I mean, if you go to the bar, you can talk to people, you can learn what they want to do, or what they know, or what's normal. And I think in that sense that the VR is a really good thing leading up to the sex, that we can normalize what's okay and what's not, and really make the world better, with interaction between men and women. And in that case, I think that VR is a really good tool to get where we want to go, so everybody will feel safe and know what's normal, and have the same values. So I'm seeing this as the road to having good sex, or enjoy people more for who they are than how they look. And then I think that the VR will shape that in a good way. This is how I see it.
Interesting. Thank
Good
you.
points there. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Good points there.
Can you imagine the orgies in VR, Ali? If you get like 100 people.
Oh gosh, do I want to?
You get like 100 people. It'll be a live version of the South Park episode. Let's go to Shushu. Shushu.
Shushu, hi.
Hi. So you hear me now?
Not very good. No, let's
just
do
hold
that
on
again.
A second. Let's try again.
Okay, now you can hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, much better.
Hi, everybody. So I want to say that what Ultra Funky just said is very, very intelligent and clever and important. And it's about the definition of love. It's like, maybe the question could be also, how will VR shape love? In this term, I had my first avatar kiss here in Altspace.
Oh wow!
And it was a very romantic moment and environment. Like, all the conditions were unique, not just somewhere in a corner, but surrounded with floating dust that gives you the feeling that you lose your gravity, and in all these moving figures in the air, this face of her, in front of me, and it could just be like a scene for a movie. Now, the kiss itself was a bit too dry for me, but I have to admit that the whole excitement before that leads to this moment, and you have to be sensitive to understand that sex is eventually, even if you go to this rough sex acts, eventually there's a heart inside, at the bottom of everything. And I think, and here I have to agree with Ultra Funky that the VR experience can purify sex. Now, this could be like our thoughts, our ambition, but I don't know if you are familiar with the Japanese VR sex. So I say Japanese because it's developing this technology mostly in Japan. the users can buy themselves extra equipment, gadgets, such as a suit, such as gloves, such as silicone boots with sensors, and this is synchronized with the image that we see, and it gives a more full experience. And you can see in YouTube, for example, some funny videos of guys or women, you know, covered all with all these gadgets, with glove, with suit, and with everything. And I like in this world, they really feel it in their body. And there is a new thing I took part, like it was an artistic event actually, but it had to do with stimulation of sex without touching each other. There's a sensor connected to the mind, to our head, and they read like the waves, like audio waves and electricity, and it was proven that we can transmit erotic feeling, sexual feeling through our mind by using technology, advanced technology. So I think eventually it will all we will achieve it in VR. But even if we do so, I think this thing that Ultra Funky mentioned is the most crucial. That it helps us. I even didn't check how this person I kissed looked like in the real world. I was not interested in this.
Thank you.
The soul was speaking to me.
Thank you, Shushu. I mean, thanks for your stories and the experience, and also the information about Japan. I mean, that just like brought a whole lot of ideas to me, thinking that when VR is not restricted within the realms of what you can do, then you know you might be able to achieve an orgasm. You might be able to achieve such experiences, because you will be immersed in a world that you will never be immersed in this world, and it just might change everything you feel, and it could enhance the love connection, which is just incredible. Let's go to Jermaine46. Hello and welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Hi.
Oh, sorry about that. I was trying to get off this thing I was typing. Sorry about that. Okay. Hold on a minute. Let me just get out of here. Yeah, so that's crazy. So with the with the VR sex thing, I feel if it gets to that point where you're buying equipment and stimulating like that, I'm like, I guess I'm old school. I need that touch. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, I get it. The VR thing is it's new. It's new to me. They didn't have this back in the 90s, you know what I'm saying, when I was coming up. But I mean, I get it, the VR, because I have a friend that's actually right now in the Air Force. She's in the reserves. And I did get the VR for this so I can communicate with her. But when you come to sex, it's just like I don't see how this would work. That part, you know what I'm saying, and and as far as the fact that the virtual reality, it would be to me, just talking, it would be a detachment from reality, because if you have some kids, or when they're growing up, it's the younger kids anyway. I mean, back, I'm old school. But the kids nowadays, they'll learn how, it's safe for the VR to go in to do this. And then on the real world, you're looking at them, and I'm just saying, you would be considered like not so much like saying an oddball, but it would be a strange situation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, if you could meet somebody in VR in a bar, but you can't do it in the real world, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
You understand?
It closes you off from the real world.
Closes you off from the real world, and you can't do that. And like you said, in the future, and I believe you said something about that, Ali. In the future, that's not going to work. You may, you get all this. You rely on too much stuff that you can't touch, that you can't do in the real world, because that's what it's about. I mean, I understand VR is good, but some things I don't think they should take it to that extent. I'm not buying a whole suit. You understand? I mean, I need that real feel. But as far as like getting like talking to a female in the real world, or even on the job, if you're cornered, you're like, well, I got to get home to get on VR so I can be who I want to be in virtual reality. That's not going to work. That's just me. I mean, I'm just throwing my 2 cents in there, but discuss amongst yourselves.
Jermaine, let me.
That's all I got.
Let me ask you. Okay, let me give you 2 scenarios, and this is actually what Ali and I had. Sorry, at our first moral dilemma, which actually should have been a social dilemma, but we didn't really understand the difference at our own event. But basically, the social dilemma is that there are a lot of people in this world right now that will probably never be able to afford a certain transportation, flying to see the person. Some are incapacitated, some are disabled, and some just have this huge connection with somebody overseas. They have a long distance relationship, as many do nowadays, and they do the whole sexting on the phone, and just something to give them the option to because they want to stick around with their relationship. Somebody, Ali, we saw that there was somebody that got married on Altspace. We also saw somebody who
VR. That was
on VR. Then we saw somebody who
I saw it too.
Was dating, and it's just so beautiful. All right, so that's the first scenario.
I mean, okay.
The second scenario, which maybe I might change your way of thinking, and that is, imagine you're with your woman. Imagine you're with your woman, right? And you're in the room with her, and you put on the VR. And you choose an insane, beautiful world that you could never imagine. And you have passionate sex. Well, you two are both wearing...
With the VR, you're talking about with the VR in the room.
Yeah. I've just... that.
But you're saying, am I physically touching her? Or this is straight through VR?
You're physically touching her and you're wearing the VR headset.
Okay, all right. Well, that one, yes, as long as I'm physically touching. Yes. If you're in VR that way, yes. But as far as what I'm saying in the first scenario overseas, how long do you have this go on through your whole life? So you don't have families? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just, to me, if you're doing this, like your first scenario is what I'm talking about. If you really love somebody that they're overseas, you can't really get to them. You don't have them playing. You're wasting your time. Because like I said, with what we were put on this earth to do, like procreate, that's out of the window now, right? A family, kids, how does that work? That's all I'm saying.
But Jermaine, some people don't.
It all depends.
Some people don't want children. Sorry. And the second thing, when we had that moral dilemma, Ali, do you remember? There were two couples there, or two people that were actually asexual. They don't want to be touched.
Okay.
And yet they do the whole tantra thing. So if there's one thing that you've got to think about, Jermaine, is that step out of your own shoes and see that there are many other types of people with different experiences, that because you will never be able to relate to somebody who's asexual.
Right, exactly. I won't be able to relate to that. No.
Just I can't relate to somebody who is, for example, polygamous. We're all different people. But for some people,
right,
such as what's his name, Shushu, who had the most mind-blowing experience, some experiences won't suit some people. But anyway,
right.
I need to move on now. But thanks again for your...
It all depends on perception and everybody's wants. For example, Jermaine, I understand because I'm also all about touch. I mean, in the beginning, if I had a long-distance relationship, VR would do the trick. Yes, 100%. It sets the ground, imagination. It's really awesome. But long term, because I also am all about physical touch, I don't know if virtual reality will ever get to the extent of being able to substitute that. And I mean, if you do get to the extent that you need technology for that in the future, it basically disconnects you from the real world. So it's all about a balance and using it to the best of your ability, what suits you. And yeah, anyway, I don't want to go on too much. I want to give everyone else a chance as well.
But I would.
But thank you. You're not the only one in the room that feels like that.
I mean, I also feel like that
Yes.
because that's me. But I'm just saying there are other people. But I would argue, Ali, that
No, definitely.
isn't it nice to also have the option nowadays? Like Jermaine
Yes,
says,
of course. It's an extra experience.
Exactly. Imagine 99% of the time you do the feel, touch, sex, whatever. But a lot of people in relationships, they lose the spark, they lose the fire, they lose the excitement. And what if VR could help them reignite them by enhancing new experiences? Like 99% you can do the touch and sex and whatever the way you used to. But then you've got the option to do something new. And what about when you're away from your wife or your husband or your spouse? Then wouldn't you try, VR while you're away? So yeah, raise your hand, Jermaine, and then we will get to you. But we do have some people that we still have to get to, including Aesthetic Ash. Ooh.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you.
we can. Hi.
Okay. So, one second.
You do sound young, though. I'm sure you get that a lot. How old are you, Aesthetic?
Are you older? Are you older than 16?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm back.
How old are you,
question.
Aesthetic?
Are you older than 16?
Sorry, I was just running. I'm 20.
Okay, awesome. Welcome. So, how do you think VR will shape the world when it comes to sex?
Are you talking? I'm sorry.
Yes. Can you hear us?
No, not really.
Okay.
Something's wrong.
Would you like to re-enter and then raise your hand?
Yeah, raise your hand. I don't believe you're 20. You're going to have to prove yourself. Surumi. If you are, then wow. You're going to grow up very gracefully. Surumi. You have the opportunity to speak or pass. No?
Sarumi, hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
There we go.
Hi.
Sorry. I didn't know how to unmute. Go flummoxed actually, because I've only just come into the topic. I don't know if you know, but there is a show at the moment called Upload, and it's available on Prime, and it actually features this topic. And there's these bodysuits that they use in order for things to happen. But I think it's interesting. I don't have a huge opinion on it. I think I liked what Timon said about the meeting of the mind. Well, you said it offers a new experience and the meeting of the minds. I mean, I could see that being an appeal for some people, but I don't really know. I haven't had, the experience or, too much. I don't really know. I'm going to pass because, I feel like I'm mumbling now, but it's one of those things that if it's there, then why not try it?
Perfect. Thank you, Sarumi.
I'm very much of the...
All good. Thank you, Sarumi. Let's go to Okrit. Well, I don't know. Ali, I want to go to you before I go to hand raisers, please. And then I'll go to me because we are running out of time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a number of things to say. I'll be short though. Well, considering the fact that VR does finally decide to cover the senses, where your senses can get stimulated in your mind as well, can believe that you're actually having a real and physical experience, that's great. Another thing, we're living in a pandemic, right? So we have a lot of diseases. It could be good for eliminating and being safe from diseases like STDs as well. It's effective for long distance relationships in the beginning. I'm still sticking to my guns there. It could actually also help introverts or people that are shy, that have problems with getting out into society, and that's their way of maybe experiencing, and they are never going to be, or they never want to actually go out into the social community. My only concern is if it becomes a comfort zone, similar to porn, and detachment of emotion. For me, that's critical over there. And as I said as well earlier, if kids get accustomed to using virtual reality, that will be their reality. So when the time does come for them to actually go out and find somebody to procreate with, then they're going to have to go into external help here. I'm not getting the word.
External stimuli.
Anyway, they won't. Yes, they won't. No, they won't actually be able to find somebody and procreate physically, because they have made virtual reality their reality, and their programming in their mind. That's what they will know, and that could be a threat as well for that generation and afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, short and sweet, a few points covered there, but I think for the points that we already discussed, it does have a good some good points as well, but I'm just more worried about the cons as well.
All right.
What do you think?
Awesome.
How will it shape it?
Well, I've got a few elements that I want to mention, but basically everyone here has covered a lot of the aspects. I'm just trying to think where to start. So first thing is that with any new technological advancement, there is going to find some type of way for pornographic purposes, right? So the most popular one that's been happening over the last couple of years, because it's not only how it will shape the world in VR, but also how is it shaping it right now? And that is the first question I get asked by people is saying, do you watch 360-degree porn viewing? And I say, yeah, I watched it 2 years ago, but for me it was a novelty. Some people, I'm sure, love it, and they've adapted to that being inside the 360. For me, I prefer 180 degrees because I don't want to turn my head every couple of minutes. I want everything to be within the view. So now we are going into the lazy point of view. But now, what about real-time sexual experiences? The porn industry is most likely heading towards private sessions where, as Shushu said, you'll be able to choose your setting. You'll be able to choose your mood. You'll be able to have a full-on sex session with either a real person or a person overseas separately. Or what about an AI robot? Somebody that just gets you. Somebody that, people are falling in love with AI because they fall in love with themselves. All right. Narcissism continues, and it will continue. Then what about strip clubs? The other possibility is, touching the woman at strip clubs now in COVID is a dangerous thing, right? But has anyone thought about starting a strip club with virtual reality where you pay the fee, you go in, and then you see hundreds of women, or whichever woman you choose? You can actually choose which type of women are doing the dance, right? Whatever your preference is. Because in VR, you can choose anything you want. And where do you want them stripping? You can choose the location, and you can put the background. So those are some ideas for entrepreneurs and businesses which might consider thinking. And maybe even people in this room are like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Let's start a strip club. This is awesome for COVID. Boom. And then you've got your idea. Then what about sex shops, where the industry might even lead to retail, where before you go into a sex shop, You can, view your sex toy. You can view your a movie trailer, product, and have it delivered to you. Especially with COVID, I don't even know if they're doing online deliveries with sex shops nowadays. So those are a few things that I had in mind. I was thinking more on the entrepreneur side of things than the personal experience. So yeah, we have run out of time, but let me just see. Let's go to Malkia. Malkia, do you have anything to add?
Hey.
Hey.
I was just going to say that there already are some spaces, not exactly on the strip club side, but there is a club in here that is kind of like a strip club. They found an interesting way with videos to do things. And there's also some stores in VR. There's a pop-up shop. I don't know if you guys have come across. And they have a number of kiosks, and you can then go into the world that's actually a store for whatever it is, the items that you're looking for to buy. And you can order online, you can cash app, and you can do those things. So these are already things that people are doing in different ways, and certainly would, be profitable within the sex industry. And I also wanted to agree with you on that. A lot of people don't realize, but every technological advance does find its way to porn. If not, it started with the idea of porn. And because it's such a huge industry, and no matter what you do, someone's going to buy it if it involves a sexual experience. So I just wanted to touch on those things there.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Malkia. Awesome. They all loved your comments. Let's go to... I'm trying to go to people who haven't spoken. Kanetti.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So I was gonna say because I just came a bit late, so I don't know if I'm gonna be repeating anything that you've already said, but don't mind me because I don't know what you're talking about. But I was just gonna say, so I think it'll just be so good, it'll turn into a big business. I have a OnlyFans, right? And it's pretty good. When I tell you the money I make down, I could just retire. No, anyway, but imagine doing that in VR, and it won't mean you have to kind of sell yourself physically, but you can get so much money out of it. It'll just be, yeah, if you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's just like a business opportunity. Yeah, exactly.
You have the opportunity to promote your OnlyFans if you want, Kanetti.
New business opportunities being born.
I would do it here but I talk to people, so it'd be weird. If I have a nice, I don't like to. It'll make me feel a bit weird. You know what I mean?
All right. No, it's
if
cool.
I share that.
100%.
So, yeah.
I just thought it was an opportunity.
But DM me if you do. I'll send it.
All right.
But
all right.
I'm not going to say out loud here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. Thank you for your honesty. Let's go to Ben Thur.
Hello. Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
There is, let me bring up a couple of things that you might have already talked about. Second Life, has that come up?
No.
Nope.
No. All right. And also, even in the online pornography sign, there are they call them cam girls, that have a room, have their toys, have the camera on them, and for a passage of some sort of currency, they may perform certain acts, or even just strip. So, in the sense of Second Life, it's already online. It's already strip clubs, including pole dancing. It's only text. So, as far as the actual communication is, I'm sure all of you are aware that you can text to another person and still connect with them. So, in the case of Second Life, and I'm sure it can happen here eventually, the text is between the person virtually sitting in a couch, watching a person virtually dancing on a pole, and there would be talk back and forth and currency going back and forth. This is actually happening in Second Life. At the same time, you can purchase like furniture that will produce sex acts, and they will, with two consorting partners, can perform all sorts of things. One thing about the VR sex, it falls right in line with cultural norms, especially if you have a place where there's a lot of kids. You're going to get, ooh, that's really awful kind of stuff, and that'll happen. So in this instance, from what I know about it, men are turned on visually, so you produce a good avatar. Women are turned on by personality, so communication happens between the two people. It doesn't matter if it's by text. It doesn't matter if it's by voice, like mine. It doesn't even matter if it's an actual camera-to-camera communication, like the cam girls that happen. It is happening all the time. And, you know, there's good and bad. Just like you have your rules, it can get rather demeaning. People do have to consider we are talking to other people. People have to consider, you know, that the other person has her limits. And people have to consider, of course, what it is they like. So it's a big world. That's all I can say.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, just listening.
Thank you.
Just listening to Ben Thur, I felt like I was watching a documentary. I seriously could hear your voice all day, Ben Thur. You've got to start a storytelling event or something. That was freaking awesome.
I agree.
And the level of detail that you went down, I mean, it's as if you're experienced in the field.
Indeed, I've been around long enough to be very careful about what I talk about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Then let's go to Stevie.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, yes, we can.
All right, so I was thinking about the whole VR thing. Like, I tried to watch like a VR porno, but it was weird to me because it was like I felt like I was real small and the girl was like a giant. Like I don't know if that was just what I watched or it felt like she was like really really big. So I was like, this is weird. So I didn't try to watch it again. But I feel like if like, you know, like if they got like an OnlyFans for VR, it would kind of be the same thing as watching like a cam show, like the cam girls he's talking about. But I feel like, I don't know if y'all seen the movie Ready Player One. Have y'all seen that?
No.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, so the kid, it's about a VR game. Like he lives in the VR world. It's all about that. But he ends up buying this full body suit that goes all the way over your body. And whatever happens to you in the game, you get shot, punched, you know, touched, whatever, somebody's feeling on you, you can feel it in real life. I feel like that would be like a game changer towards like, you know, the VR sex industry. Cause like, it's just going to be like watching any other movie on VR. It's not, you don't get to touch them. You don't get to nothing. Like, I don't know, but that's my opinion on that.
Was the movie called Real Player One, you said?
Ready Player One.
And it starts off where the whole world is destroyed and everybody's just living in a virtual reality type of world, right?
Well, the world ain't destroyed. The world ain't destroyed. It's just like, I guess it's like really overpopulated and they live like in stacks. It's like trailers stacked on each other and stuff.
Yes. Okay, yes, I've seen that. And when every time I think of VR, it concerns me because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want the world to get to that.
Yeah, like
It's
everybody in the world is
raises
on VR
concern.
because because they don't like being in the real world. It's not as good as being in VR.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Stevie. That's
I've seen it, yes,
exactly
thank
what
you.
I thought when I watched a porno about 2 years ago on VR. And it was basically just being in a cinema. And I think it's something that they got to work on, because you get these huge ass people, naked people, and it actually takes away the enjoyment because it takes away the realistic side of things when you're actually just watching a movie, basically. Let's go to Jermaine. Jermaine, I can see that hand is up.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. So as far as that 360 or whatever, that porno stuff, I've seen that. I would never seen a drive to go in to see what was going on. I mean, like once again, I'm old school, so I just take up the regular porno stuff. You know what I'm saying? But to get in like 360, it wasn't really appealing to me. And then I wanted to comment on you. There was a strip club in this alt space, but the damn thing they shut her down, and they had like cop cars and everything tape around the building. Can you believe that?
What? For what?
So I mean, yeah. So as far as you bringing the strip club into the VR world, I mean, what is that going to do? You understand what I'm saying? Now, I used to go to strip clubs all the time. I just need to see that actual thing there right in front of me. But as Ali was saying, with the kids and being in a comfort zone, I just think that the moving forward, young kids nowadays that get into this stuff, and when they bring it to life, this is gonna be really awkward. You know what I mean? And I get what you were saying. I just think it's gonna be real awkward for kids growing up. In the future, it's gonna be a big detachment to life, like what's actually going on in the real world. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
But thank you for
You
listening
want
to
the
me.
hands-on approach.
Yeah, you gotta have the hands-on approach. I got a strip club. I mean, I get the strip club thing, but like I said, when the strip club was open in alt space, I mean, they had 3 women on the thing, but it was a neat setup. But I mean, how can somebody get off on that?
Look,
I don't know. This is me.
First of all, it's kind of ridiculous having naked. Like, just think about this, Ali. Imagine you can get naked on alt space. How ridiculous would your avatars look?
It would be a whole lot of naked people running around.
But like, how
you know what I'm saying?
How
I don't
unattractive?
know.
But how unattractive would it be as well? The only thing attractive about it would be the voice. Because
It takes everything away from the imagination. Just kills the imagination.
We literally all look like 20-year-olds. All right, awesome. Thanks so much, Jermaine. Thank you very much. Shushu.
Hi there. So you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Great. Any clever thoughts here? So thank you everybody for sharing these. I just wanted to point one issue. I have a relative. It's a very close person, and he is disabled. He's handicapped. He's on a wheelchair from the moment he was. He had he was born like this. All his life, he can't walk. He can't operate his legs. His body developed in a way that he's not attractive to anybody. The only thing that works in his body are a little bit the right arm, the head, like the mind. His mind is very developed, and his penis. Luckily, so he have never had any chance in his life to get into a relationship with the other kind, with a woman, with a man, whatever he feels like, up to the point that they can perform sex. Even though I personally try to help him when he was in touch with a lady, and it was a bit embarrassing, and you know you kind of have to really assist them physically to get into the situation that it can close themselves in some room and do anything. But it didn't work because they couldn't just touch it and do nothing. They were both in the same situation. So I was thinking that this VR technology can bring happiness to these kind of people.
Very good. Thank you so
That's
much,
my
Shushu.
my thoughts.
It's very, yeah, really, really relevant. I agree, 100%. Thank you. And then let's go to Paul. Paul.
I think Shushu has a very good point about the disabled, but going back to his point about the Japanese one of the highest suicide rates in the world, and I don't know how this would enhance, would benefit, or what the effect would be in either direction. But I'd just like to demonstrate how sterile this is. Where are you, Jermaine? I'm coming, mate. Don't hide, don't block me. I'm going to give him a kiss. He's hiding. It's pointless and sterile at the moment. That's my point.
Okay.
Where's he gone? Sorry, Jermaine, mate.
Thank you, Paul. That ends it on such a good note. And very interesting. Some people will feel invaded by that. Some people will feel sexually assaulted, even in VR, where they actually feel like they are their avatar. And others will take the piss out of it, you know. So, I mean, I can't laugh for all, because I have had to kick a lot of people that have tried to sexually assault others. And but when like women try to assault me, I laugh about it and then I block them very easily. But I guess everyone's different. Thank you so much.
Really? You do?
Yes, I do. Well, actually, one that blocked me, that I blocked, I had to unblock because the person was in the room, and they thought that Altspace was just about being mischievous and being rebellious. And then over time, they gained respect for the game or for the platform. And obviously, I mean, I brought it up once and she laughed about it. I laughed about it. That's what we do. But it could have gone another way. So, yeah.